It's been some time since I played around in my Blackout journal. So come join me as I do some actual painting in my Blackout. What's up everyone, this is Priya here. Welcome back to my channel if you're returning. And if this is the first time, thank you so much for stopping by. Here I share tips, ideas and inspiration to make your planner and journal spreads pretty and functional. As you may remember, this is my Blackout journal and I had a couple of tools underneath there so that the holographic effect can be seen. And I have a couple of the very basic, the school-going kids would be using this acrylic paint. And it's been a long time since I used some acrylic paint. So I will get to that as we go through the first set of pages, and I had prepped a couple of setups for 2025, and this was the peekaboo door I did, and I used a lot of pens in here and some of the craft paper, and this was really a lot of fun, a different challenge altogether, and you can watch all these setups from 2025 and I have linked the video. So I prepped for the highlights of each month. That's the kind of idea I had for this, and I had a good mix of stickers and pens and all that. And for now I'm going to prep a 2-page or a 4-page setup, in fact, for the month of April, which by the time you see this, you should be in April. And I'm keeping a chunky sticker book underneath there so that the page can lie down flat, or the journal in fact can lay down flat. And this is in fact very basic. Any inexpensive paint can be used for this. And I will also share a bit of my tips when it comes to picking what you can use in a Blackout journal. And again, this is a whole different approach altogether to creativity. Unlike the white pages, the look it gives for different paints, different pens, it is all very different. So if you are somebody new to Blackout journals, I think this can be a very beginner friendly approach you can take for that. And I'm going to create my Dutch door first. And I'm using my paper trimmer, the tabletop one, the petite one from Journal Say. And I'm going to make sure I line up the dots perfectly, or else I will end up with a wonky page, which I do not want. So I will have that piece, I'll save it, because I always save my scraps because I might need them for some other project, right? So this is the set of paints, and always have a roll of the paper towel handy. And I'll now put on some music. I will also talk a bit about anything that in the tips or so. I will share a bit about that towards the end. So you can see how I'm mixing in different colors here, and I have a brush for each of the colors, and I did come and do some testing in the back pages just so that I can decide on what I want to go with. And I'm going with very basic, beginner friendly techniques here. Anybody can do, and some of these paints had dried up, so it was a bit of a struggle, but I love the end result. I have used my Blackout journal, the 8x8 square journal from Archer and Olive, and my code Priya10 can earn you 10% off at Archer and Olive, Mojo Jojo Plans, and a few other shops, even the Washi Tape shop and Live Love Posh, where products will later be used from. I'm going to speed up the process, and I'll put on some music, and I may come and talk to you a bit in between, but otherwise I will meet you after the whole therapeutic painting process is done. The wildflower field is almost done. And this was quite a challenge, especially since the paint had dried quite a bit, because it's been about 6 years since I bought this. And now I'm debating on what to draw next, because I do not want just the flowers at the bottom. And you will see what I'm drawing in a bit. And again, I wanted to have like an outline before I went ahead with the paint, because already the paint is giving me a kind of a tough time, but no complaints. I was sad that I did not get to use these paints more often before it got to the stage. And these are very inexpensive paints, and I just wanted to see what I could use from my stash. And this is just a very therapeutic time, just taking my time for myself. And I'm now finishing up the antennas and the body part of the butterfly. And these are very whimsical kind of butterflies I was going for. I used my Uniball signal for that white part, adding some decorations for the wings, just some pop of color. So if you are somebody who is trying to dip your toes into the world of blackout journals, I would suggest you use lighter colors and more of the pearl finish or the iridescent touches. Some of the paints do have that, and this is definitely one such variety. And I'm so glad this was the one with that pearl finish. That iridescence was very much there. So such things are definitely useful when it comes to picking mediums to use in your blackout journals. So there are the jelly roll in different colors. You have the metallic paints. Arch and Olive had some, and Posco from the Uniball had some. And you have the Uniball Signo or the other jelly roll if you are looking for some white paints. And here for the sun, I wanted to do a moon, but then since this is a wildflower field and you have butterflies, I thought a sun made more sense, especially as it's springtime. I think sun made total sense. And I'm going with a silver, the metallic silver and the metallic yellow, the pearl finish, of course, paints for the sun. And I really love the texture it has. And with the normal pens, you normally cannot get the added effect of that texture, but that is something I absolutely love when I get started with creative projects. And after the painting part is done, I had to take a break, come back, say like 4 or 5 hours later, making sure that the paint is dried up fully. And I did not go for a very thick layer or thick kind of painting overall. Otherwise, it would have taken more time. And I wanted to just get back to the blackout journal. And this is not something a lot of people do. And it's quite challenging because the thought behind these setups has to be very, very different. And go for softer colors like the metallic silver, the gold. All of those would really, really pop in the blackout journal. And the blackout journal, usually it comes in the A5, but Arch and Olive, they have to come out in other sizes. So I think they had it in a variety of sizes. And with every release, Arch and Olive makes sure that you do have options in the blackout dot grid as well. Sometimes I believe there are plain pages also. And let me know if you are somebody who would like to have such beginner-friendly tutorials, or usually I do watercolors, but I don't get as much time to sit down and do some of that lately. But I think I will take any excuse to get whatever I can with such hobbies of mine. And this was definitely therapeutic. I needed this. I knew it. So I just put on some music, some calming music. I lit a candle, and I was just here for maybe an hour or so. And then I decided, because all of these, it takes time, and you have to just let the process unfold. Just don't overthink it. Other than the fact that the camera was on, I was just doing it for myself. And so I think I did enjoy the whole process. And you can see now how I'm just using that yellow paint to write above that April I had written using the pencil. And I also wanted to try and balance some of the yellow colors on the left page. And that is why I'm just writing it using that paint. Not the perfect crisp letters, but it will do. And let's see, let's try and fix some of that letters. And you will also see how I'm trying to finish some of the other elements, like the filler elements for the wildflower field. And adding pops of yellow, and we should be good. And just basic strokes. But again, if the paint were less dry, I think it would have obeyed a bit more the strokes, or the grass or the vegetation would have looked a bit more organic, but this one was looking a bit wonky. That is very true. And once this is done, I will leave it to dry and come back to it later. So this is the additional step I had to do, because I wanted to draw some other shadowy kind of effects. And I had to let this also be done before I let it out to dry. So one day I did it in the morning, did the painting part, and I left it open, because it should not be touching anything. It should just be air drying. And I did not use paints on the back page behind that flap door. And here we have 6 hours later, everything is nice and dry. So everything has a lot of texture to it, which is lovely. And I'm now going to see what else I can bring in, because I wanted to add some white as well, and some pops of white with the washi tape is always nice. So this is part of the Baroque lace washi set from the washi tape shop. So I'm trying to see where I can position it. And let me just take out my washi cutter from Live Love Posh. And this is a beautiful set of washi tapes, and that is definitely quite useful, especially for the Blackout journal, because I use all the other colors, but white is not something I normally get to use on the white pages. So I take up any excuse to use the white washi. And I'm going with the scissors, which is from Journal Say, just like the paper trimmer that I first used. And I'm using the same washi and the same technique for the other page also. And I'll stop right there so that It can look as if it has stopped right before we reach the butterfly. And I think that came out really pretty. And should I add some more at the top? I don't think I need to. I don't want to overdo it because I wanted the rest of the space for some actual writing. So I'm using my Uniball Signo again to draw circles, and with this process I'm using one of my bangles, and I chose a wooden one, so if at all something gets on it, it shouldn't be a problem. And I'm having to stand up here because the pen has to be upright and it has to touch the page for it to have that ink flow smoothly. So I'm trying to have at least 3 circles, functional circles for the page. And I'm trying to also give that doodly kind of effect. So I'm just, yeah, that's perfect. Just lift one side and then draw complete the circle on the other side. So that way you can, you can see that. I'm doing the same thing, just not trying to copy the exact same thing, but it has to be organic. And let's turn the page and then we will, so for this one, let's draw on the outside. And let me know if you have used a Blackout journal. If yes, what brand is it? And what is the thickness of the paper? Because this is again a 160 GSM paper, and it's perfect because you can use any mediums you want, just like with the other Archer and Olive journals. And I love the creativity it gives. Once in a while, I need to dive into these pages. And hope you enjoyed today's video. And please check out the earlier setups I mentioned. And I will have all the names of the products I used today. And I will link something similar for the paints. I'm not sure if you will have the exact same thing, but I will try my best to do something similar so that you can get the hang of things. And it shouldn't be very expensive. So just have fun with it. Enjoy the process. And I'm throwing in a couple of quotes from the spring sticker book from Live Love Posh. And I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you in the next one. Bye.